Today is June 5th, 2014, and we are interviewing Don Schulte at Aveston Park. Don was born on April 19th, 1946. My name is Cheryl Walker, and I'll be the interviewer. Mr. Schulte, could you state for the record what war and branch of service you served in?
Yes, I was in the United States Army. I was in the Vietnam War.
Okay, and what was your highest rank?
I was Sergeant E5.
Would you like to share your story at this time?
As much as I can get into it.
That's fine.
Okay. Actually, we got drafted, and we went from here to Fort Leonard Wood. We got processed in, went to Fort Lewis, Washington, got there, and it was like 2 foot of snow on the ground. And our platoon leader wanted to make points with our company commander, which was bald, so everybody got their head shaved completely. And it was kind of cold. So anyway, we went through 6 weeks of basic training, and I went 6 weeks of AIT, Advanced Infantry Training, and then from that point on, we were shipped to Vietnam. We arrived over there, and we processed in over a camp named Bearcat, which was right out of Saigon. We stayed there for about a week, and then we moved south. And from that point on, we were pretty well out in the boonies or whatever, out in the field for like maybe 4 or 5 months at a time. Then we'd come in for maybe 2 or 3 days, and we'd be going back out again. During that time, when we were in base camp, we had full patrol out. So anyway, at that point, we kept motivating down that way, and then later on, we moved into the what they call the Delta. It was a swamp area, and we walked in water for several days. We had to have hammocks tied up in trees because the tide would come in, and we wouldn't, if you're on the ground, you would get soaked. Anyway, we got through that. We were short on water one day and food, and helicopters dropped some stuff in, and instead of water, they dropped off gasoline, which was terrible. But anyway, they redid it, and they got some water. At one point, one of the gentlemen I was a machine gunner, and one of my cohorts got stuck in the mud, and they had to have he kept sinking so far, and they had to have a helicopter come and pull him out. And after that, everybody was kind of a little bit leery about walking around in there, but we made it to that. At that point, we moved on. We moved a little bit further south, and I cannot remember all the base camps we were at, but we just continually did patrols, and we'd be out 2 weeks, come in for 2 days, go back out for 2 weeks. It was a continuous thing. And one of the last assignments we had. Sorry about that. Okay, one of the last missions we were at, we were flown in to a LZ, what they call a landing zone, and then the enemy were around there already, and they were firing on the helicopters, and they blew a couple helicopters up. So at that point, the helicopters would no longer land, so we had to jump from about 20 feet up in the air. We had to jump and land. Well, when we finally got all that done, landed and everything else, then we spread out. And then we went maybe 300-400 yards, and we started setting up a perimeter and it was like 2 companies guarding a entire artillery unit. And to this day, I think we were set up out there because there was 2 regiments of VC that they knew were in the area, and they were trying to bait them and get them out there. So we were out there for about 3 days, I guess. By the time we got settled in, dug foxholes and stuff like that. And then one morning they just came in and started attacking us. And they had, I don't know how many men they had. We had a patrol out, and a couple of the guys on patrol, well, they were overrun, and a couple of guys even laid down and pretended they were dead, and they were saying that they had VC sitting on top of them, you know. And when at that time, then they came in, and they were pretty many guys. They broke the perimeter of our guards, so we had to do whatever we could to get through that. We had couple guys from the artillery unit came up to help us reinforce. One of the gentlemen got shot right to the eye. He died right there. And after that, we kept firing. I carried a machine gun, and it finally burned up, so we had to vacate our foxhole and start going back to a different perimeter, you know. And for luck, I found a weapon I could use to keep, you know, going. So we got to the perimeter, and then I guess this was going on maybe about 4 to 5 hours for this battle. And we were about ready to be overtaken. And then the armored personnel carriers come in with tanks and stuff like that. And then they came in, and they kind of overran them, and I don't know how many VC that they killed. They had dug trenches, and they just came around with the back of armored personnel carriers, loading the dead, throwing them in that hole, and just burying them. I think we were at a reunion in Pennsylvania, and one of the generals that was in charge of our group at that time said he talked to the general of the VC unit, and he had talked directly to the general that was in charge of that VC unit, that was those 2 regiments, and he said he had never run into anybody who could fight as much as we did. So, I mean, but to reward us for that, we get to walk all the way back in base camp. And after that, we didn't really do a whole lot. I mean, we went on patrols and stuff, but we never ever run into as much as, you know, we did those days, about 3 or 4 days we had with patrols and you know, being overrun and stuff like that. So that's about all I can talk about for that battle. So.
Can I ask you some questions?
Sure.
Okay. Do you remember, or can you remember any medals that you received?
Yes, I've got the Purple Heart, 2 Bronze Stars, and Vietnam Service Medal, and Distinguished Unit Award from the President.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. When you were out, or when you were in Vietnam, can you tell us how it was receiving your mail?
Oh, well, we were out in the field, like I said, a couple weeks at a time, and when we got in, then you get your mail, maybe 2 or 3 letters, you know, from being out that long, and then you would have time to read them and maybe write them back if you But it was like come in, shower, get a little change of clothes, and right back out again. So it was mail. It was good, as much as we could get, So
what was it like writing? Did you get to write letters?
Yeah, we had a chance to write letters home.
Did you have paper in the field?
No.
So you couldn't write
No.
when you were in the field?
Right. Yeah, we didn't have no paper, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We just basically had what we needed to get by, and that was it. So.
I'm gonna look and see if they're there.
Did you carry anything in your helmet for good luck?
No, I never did. No.
Okay.
There were some of them that had like ace of spades and all kinds of stuff like that. Girlfriends' pictures and stuff like that. I never had a girlfriend when I went over there. I made sure of it.
How old were you when you went over there?
Well, let's see, I just turned 20. When we went to Vietnam.
Were you drafted?
Yes, I was. Yeah. Got out of high school and spent 1 year, and then they drafted.
Were you working or were you going to school?
No, I was working at that time. I was working at Basel Electric in Highland. So.
What did you eat when you were in the field? Did you?
They had sea rations.
Sea rations?
Yeah.
Was there any sea rations that you liked?
Peaches, shortcake, or yeah, I think it was shortcake. Yeah.
Was there any that you swore you'd never eat anything like that again?
Yeah, the ham and beans, and they had a few of them there, but most of the time you ate cold. It wasn't very. It was nourishing, but it wasn't like home or back at the base camp where you got a hot meal. So.
Did you get to take showers in the field?
No. We if we got wet, that's how we got clean. Yeah.
Did you get jungle rot?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
How long did it take for that to clear up for you?
Oh, I'd say 12, 15 years probably. Yeah.
How many times did you get your clean uniforms?
If we were out maybe 3 weeks, maybe they would give us one clean uniform within that time period.
Were they your size?
Not necessarily. Yeah. And then, like when we were in that swampy area and stuff like that we never got any clothes out there. We just basically had what we had, and that was it.
Did they rot off of you?
No, but they were pretty raunchy by the time we got done.
What was the weather like?
Oh, it was hot. Oh, it was so hot and humid. Oh, you would pray for rain. I mean, you wouldn't get much rain, but it was so hot. But I don't know. It seemed like you got used to it. After 6-8 months. So.
What kind of animals did you see over there?
Oh my God! Well, there was elephants, and we were guarding we weren't guarding, but we were at a fuel refinery. At one time, we had set up right along there, and some guy had pet monkeys and stuff like that, and scorpions and centipedes. Stuff that one guy was sleeping through the night, leaning against a tree sleeping, and next morning he woke up and there was a scorpion in between him and the tree, So, and then leeches, oh God! When you walk through the water and the rivers and stuff, then leeches would get on you, and then you'd have to either burn them off or doing something like that with a cigarette. So. Yeah.
Did Did everybody pretty much smoke?
Yeah, majority of them did. Yeah, there was a few of them that didn't, and it was kind of tough, especially at night. You'd be on guard duty, and I know a couple times I even fell asleep. How it is, you walk all day and you're just shot. But majority of the time, yeah, everybody that I knew of kind of around me smoked.
You talked about hammocks. Did they issue hammocks?
No, you bought them.
You bought them?
Yeah, when you got into base camp, you would go. They had BX, and you would buy a hammock because you're going to go back out to the swampy area, and you need to stay up before the tide comes in. So.
And what were they made out of?
Nylon, and just old rope and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
Were they comfortable?
Once you got in them. It's getting in them once in a while was a task, but yeah, I'd say they're fairly comfortable. Yeah.
And you carried them on your packs?
Yeah. Well, they didn't amount to much. By the time you pulled them up and rolled them up, they didn't amount to a whole lot.
How much did you think your packs weighed?
Well, we didn't really carry a big pack. Like I said, I was a machine gunner, and I had M60, and then I had a couple strands of bullets around me, and then the guys around me also. But as far as packs, backpacks and stuff, we didn't carry a lot of that. So we just basically stuck it in our pocket and got what we needed, and that was about all you can use.
What about water?
Water? Well, a lot of times if they get it to you, it was good water. But other times they'd have tablets. You'd have to take it out of the stream and drop the tablets in it, let it sit for a while and dissolve. And they say that was, purified. But you have questions about anything, especially this now, you wouldn't even think about doing something like that. Yeah, but yeah, just purification tablets, basically. So,
did you get coffee in the field?
No coffee. We didn't have nothing to heat it with. Well, some people had what they call it sterno. I don't know if you know what that is. They light it, but then you don't want to be drawing attention to yourself either. So, yeah.
Did you go on R&R?
Yes. I was lucky enough to get 2 R&Rs. I went to Bangkok, Thailand, and my aunt's sister happened to be over at the United States Embassy at that time. She worked on. So I was lucky I made contact with her, and then she took me around.
Okay. You were talking about Bangkok,
yeah.
And your aunt?
My aunt's sister. She worked at the embassy over there, and then when I got there, I got in contact with her, and she took me around. And I remember her. She got me a deal on got me some bronze silverware I sent home to my mom, and yeah, it was enjoyable for 3 or 4 days, whatever you got there, And then later on, for some reason or another one came up and nobody wanted to go, so I went to Hong Kong. And like some of the guys that I knew were going over there too, so we just got together over there and just relaxed and stuff like that. So yeah, that was enjoyable. It was a break. But they say there was R&Rs in country, but I never ever seen or anything like that. So
were you able to take any pictures while you were?
I never carried a camera, but we got guys that just picture on picture on picture, of our group. We have a reunion. In fact, we got one in July. We're going to just stop and think about where I'm going here. At the end of July, we're going to go. I can't think where it is. It's out west somewhere anyway. And at first it was every 5 years we had a reunion. But now I think it's every 2 years we go, because a lot of the guys are, they're dying basically. Yeah. At first, once we started, was one of the guys that was with us. We just went to his sister's house on the other side of Chicago in Wisconsin, and that was more enjoyable. That was just the guys that we were with. So
That's nice.
yeah, it is.
So how many years have you been doing this?
See, we got out in '67. I want to say we've probably been doing this for almost 20 years. And the year 2000, we had it here in St. Rose, right down the road from here, and that was really nice. We had our platoon sergeant and everything else showed up for that one, so he was good.
That's nice that it's
Yeah.
been that long.
Yeah. In fact, one of the guys has a trailer that he's got a lot of this stuff in, and we were when they first were undecided whether they're going to have him or not. If he could get him, then I was going to get a hold of him. He's from Ohio, and he would have came down, no problem. So.
Do you remember the day that you came home from Vietnam?
No, I can't really, not off the top of my head, but I remember landing, and yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the day that you got out of the service?
Oh yeah. A bunch of us guys, well, we were in Fort Carson, Colorado, and we all rode home together. When we got drafted, there was like 25 guys right from this area that went in, got drafted, went through all the training, and went to Vietnam and come back and went Fort Carson, Colorado. And they said that was very, very unusual for having that many guys right in this, within every 5 miles of the town, Otherwise, they went by zip codes, well, from what I understand, and they just messed up. Because if we could have got, well, like that day we were overrun, got wiped out, how many guys? There had to be like 20 guys killed in one day. In fact, one of the guys that's on the wall, his picture's over there, he was with us. He got killed when we came into the landing zone. He was on one of the helicopters that got blown up. So, yeah.
Have you ever been to Washington to see the wall?
Yes, I have. When we went to Pennsylvania for the reunion, I was telling you where that general was speaking. Yeah, we made our business to go. We got that close, we were going to go see the wall. Yeah. So, well, in fact, Jim and Donna went with us. So.
When you came back, when you got out of the service and you came home, what did you do? Did you immediately go back to work?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, in fact, at that time, my dad, they closed. He used to work at a dairy over in Centralia, and they closed the dairy, so he had like a service station, gas station in Trenton, there where I lived, and I just helped him out for a while, and then I went to Scott Air Force Base, got on there. At that time, they were hiring pretty heavy, so.
And how long did you work at Scott Air Force Base?
37 years, yeah. I started out going in there as a dishwasher in the kitchen at the hospital, and then I moved to a janitor, and then from that point on, I went to vehicle maintenance as a refueling maintenance mechanic.
You said you belong to a Vietnam Veterans Association
Right.
here. Is it part of the American Legion?
No, it's not. It's a separate deal. That gentleman right there going in the black truck, him and I were side by side all the while we were. There's our president right here.
How many members, how long has it been in
Existence.
Uh-huh.
Mo, how long did Vietnam Veterans 269 been going?
85, 87.
So, what, 20, almost 20 years?
Fantastic. What kind of activities does your post or your association have?
We are heavily into fundraising. We had a golf scramble coming up here at the end of the month. We just finished doing a U-Drive at Carlisle at the Ford dealership. We have, that gentleman just left, his wife helped make a quilt. We sold tickets for it. We have gun raffles, throughout the year. We have breakfast. We do a breakfast twice a year. So yeah, we financially right now we are in really good shape.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I don't think so. Not at the present time.
Okay. Well, I'd like to take this time and thank you for the time you served our country.
Okay.
And I'd also like to thank you for the time that you've given me to interview you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.